I hope you're all doing well. And to start a session, we can start with just settling our body and our mind in a comfortable position so that the mind is ready to hear whatever we're going to speak about. Okay? So sit comfortably. You can close your eyes. And just focus your mind for a couple of minutes on your body. Being aware of sensations that arise from the body. Being aware of your breath. And let your mind come to rest by being focused on your body. When we have awareness with the present moment, our delusions cannot arise. Attachment to whatever might happen in the future, and aversion to whatever has happened in the past comes naturally to rest. And the mind becomes calm and clear and focused. And then we set up a motivation for listening and reflecting and meditating today. And we are aware that we are suffering, that we have a relationship with ourselves which can be improved. Maybe we experience suffering and dependence on that relationship. And we are looking for ways to lessen that suffering and create causes and conditions to experience more happiness. And we realize that we are not the only people, the only sentient beings who are experiencing this kind of problem. There are so many other sentient beings around us who are experiencing something similar. And there are also many sentient beings who are experiencing sufferings that are even worse, maybe far worse than what we experience. And with all these sentient beings, we have a connection. You can think due to past lives, but you can also think in terms of whatever happiness you experience during your day, being able to eat food, live in a safe house, have work, have money, all these good qualities, they come about due to the kindness of others. Somehow others are involved in providing you that happiness. So in that way, we have a connection with all sentient beings. So then we decide that we're going to listen and reflect, not just for our own happiness alone, but also for the happiness of all these sentient beings suffering in samsara, that they all may become free of that and find their perfect state of happiness. And then before I start with the teaching, Pema, our director from Tushita, she would like to speak to you a few minutes.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Good evening or good morning. Thank you all so much for your presence and coming back to this course every single day. Thank you so much, everybody. So we are coming towards the end of the course. So thank you all and congratulations for each one of you for completing the course today. Can you all hear me? No? 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 I think it's just Venerable Jamyang. The rest can hear, right? Sorry. Yeah. Just please give us a second. Okay. Sorry, everybody. So yeah, congratulations all for the course. And thank you so much, Venerable Jamyang. I know she can hear me, but the rest of you I can hear. Rest of you, I think you can hear me, right? So thank you so much for Venerable Jamyang. Main purpose I'm here is to again all of you to remind and to request you all to support us by making donations. We have been receiving quite a few donations, so I want to thank you all for that. And I would like to again you all to as far as possible. And another thing is, offerings for Venerable Jamyang is also most welcome. So you all know the link, so you can use the same link for Venerable Jamyang. And yeah, so and when we announced this course, this self-compassion course, in the mail we have given you the Amazon wishlist link is there. So we have been also receiving some gifts from our Amazon wishlist. So I want to thank you all for sending us those useful gifts for Tushita as well. Yeah, thank you all so much for the course and for the donations and the gifts from the Amazon wishlist. And please keep donating and keep us thank you so much. And enjoy the last session of the course. Thank you.
What's happening? Okay, I'm back. I missed the speech, but I hope that you enjoyed. So yesterday we spoke about the lack of self-compassion, in particular for the people pleaser, and the challenges a people pleaser can have when they meet with Mahayana teachings. And in my explanation, I've used a lot of information from Western psychology, such as inner child work. And I have shared what worked for me, having been in that situation myself. So this information has helped me to relate in a different way to myself. And that has also helped me to hear the teachings in a different way. And I think more in the way, I can hear them now more in the way than they are intended to be. So yesterday we also spoke about forgiveness in the meaning of letting go the expectation of a better past. When an event that has happened in the past is still hurting, even when it has happened months ago or years ago, that means we are still reacting with aversion or anger to the event. And we can see that if we check our mind and what we are thinking. Sometimes we try to get rid of the event, or we try to change how the event went. So this not only eats up our energy, but it also disconnects us from our heart, from our love, from our gentleness. And if we do this for a long time, it might make us bitter. And despite all the effort that we put in order to try to change the past, nothing happens because the past is gone. We cannot change it, no matter what we try. So forgiveness means that we fully accept what has happened. We feel it and we let it go. We stop investing energy in it. Forgiveness is not condoning harm that has been done to you. And it also doesn't mean that you stay or you engage in unhealthy, dysfunctional relationships or abusive relationships. You know, what we need to let go is the strings that we have attached to these events, these relationships. That is coming from our side. We are holding on to something because we would like to see things to be different, but we need to let that totally go. Once we let go, it can be that you meet with unmet needs. You know, maybe you connect with a pain of rejection, a pain of neglect, and underneath that is the need for connection, the need for belonging, the need to be loved. So when that happens, you go through the pain of not having met these needs. And so when you go through that, you accompany yourself with kind self-talk. You are mindful of what you're feeling. And you remember that this feeling is not just about you. It is a shared human experience that so many human beings experience independence upon causes and conditions. And so then we can things really let go, and we can really heal. So today we're going to look into resistance and a little bit into what it means when things go smoothly. And I will mix a little bit Buddhist perspective and Western psychology, right? Because in both there is a lot of value. And I will present it in a way that they are not contradicting each other, but they are complementing each other. So from Buddhist perspective, when things go smooth, when we have no obstacles to accomplish whatever we want, if we have no obstacles to success or to acquiring material things or to having pleasant relationships or feeling happy in your body, and your body is functioning well and you have the right food and the right medicine, all that is a sign that you have a lot of merit. That means that in the past you have engaged in a lot of virtuous actions, and that is ripened in this life in the way that you have no obstacles to whatever you like to achieve. So when that's the case, you can rejoice in that. Wow, how wonderful. I must have created really good karma. I must have done really virtuous actions for this to come back to me. Then we can also have the other side. You know, we have obstacles in achieving whatever we would like to achieve. Or maybe even obstacles in knowing what you want. What do I want to achieve? What do I want to do with my life? I have no idea. Maybe you have even obstacles to that. Maybe you lack confidence. Or things are not going the way you want. Or you cannot use your good qualities effectively. You feel that you have them, but somehow, you know, maybe nobody's interested in them, or maybe the situation doesn't arise that you can use them. And it can also be that you have resistance in engaging in certain actions. So that resistance, or things not going well, of having obstacles to success, these are all signs of having created negative karma. And negative karma can ripen in this way. So now don't beat yourself up and thinking, oh, I must have all that negative karma, I'm a bad person, right? It's not like that. We are all human beings, which means that we all had amazing karma to even be born as a human being. And then we all have some good karma and some negative karma. And some people have more negative karma than other people. But that in itself doesn't say anything, you know. Maybe this is a life that you need to clean up a lot of negative karma so that the next lives you will have fantastic lives, right? So negative karma ripening doesn't mean you are a bad person. Is not a reason to beat yourself up. It's not a reason to be disheartened. It's not a reason for anything. It's just ripening in this life, you know. It is like your house is dirty, you need to clean it out. You need to clean up. That's all. You know, you never beat yourself up when your house is dirty, you need to clean. It's just something that happens. Okay, so be gentle with yourself. When you have a lot of negative karma ripening in this life, you are already suffering a lot. No need to add to that with negative self-talk. No need. It's just hurting more. Resistance can present itself in many ways. So everybody okay with Can you be with yourself without beating yourself up and looking at resistance? I hope you have a little bit of foundation from the last 5 days. So this doesn't say anything about your personality. This doesn't say anything about your qualities. This doesn't say anything about your value. This doesn't say anything about any of that. Just that in past lives you have created certain actions and they're coming in this life back to you. So resistance can present itself in many ways. You can feel stuck. You have the feeling that you do not like to look at certain aspects of your life or of your personality. It can feel like something is holding me back. And so I think what is holding us back is that we haven't processed the unpleasant experiences that come with the ripening of negative karma. And so when we keep resisting these experiences, then they become obstacles to connecting with the power within you. When we have negative beliefs about ourselves and we keep repeating them, they become obstacles for positive change, right? Oh no, I cannot develop a good heart because, I just do not have the potential to do so. Repeating this kind of beliefs is not benefiting anyone. It's just holding you back from your own happiness. So how can resistance manifest? And you can check in yourself if you recognize that and think, oh, that's actually resistance. Connecting with resistance will help to move your life in a different direction. Right? So resistance can show itself by us engaging in actions that show the resistance. For instance, I'm talking to someone and they start pointing out something and I start changing the subject. Or when something comes up that is very unpleasant for me, I leave the room or I go to the bathroom. Or when I need to do something difficult, I come late. Procrastinating is a way, of not wanting to do something. So you start being very busy with something else. Or maybe you become very busy with solving other people's problems. Right? People pleasers do that a lot. They are a lot busy with other people's problems, giving other people what they need. But that can be a way of procrastinating, doing your own job. Eating, drinking, smoking, all that is resistance to change, but to look at what is actually going on, to experiencing what is going on deep inside us. We can also justify our resistance by saying, well, I'm not going to do anything with that because only crazy people go to therapists, or nobody is there who can really help me. My problem is nobody can help me, or it will go away by itself. I don't have to do anything about it. Or I do not want to bother anyone with my problems, right? You move away from it. Or you can hold on to certain beliefs that make that you keep repeating, being stuck in your situation. For instance, you can believe, oh, but if I would go there and do this, then I wouldn't be a spiritual person. Or maybe you believe, well, spiritual persons never get angry, so I'm not going to look at that feeling inside me. I should push it away because it's not really what I should be feeling or doing. Or you might believe that, oh no, I can't go to the therapist, it's too far to drive, or it is too expensive, or it may take me too much time, or I actually do not believe that can help me. I'm not the kind of person who would engage in that kind of activity. right? You stop your change already by this kind of beliefs. Or you can give your responsibility away and you say, well, I'm waiting till the stars are in a good constellation, you know, till the right time is there. Or at the moment, I'm not in the right environment to do that. Or the people that I'm living with, they won't let me change, you know. It's all their fault. Or you could say, as soon as I get this and this and this, I'll do it. It's a kind of a magical thinking, right? Sometimes we do that. Well, when this happens, then it's the right time to do that. Otherwise, it's not. And then when that happens, we have another excuse. Or we can believe things about ourselves and we say, oh, I'm too old for that, or I'm too young for that, or I'm too fat, or I'm too thin. You know, we can look at any quality and we say, oh no, I'm too strong, or I'm too weak, or I'm too dumb, or I'm too busy, or I'm too poor, or I'm too smart, whatever. Right? We can do that very easily. Or we procrastinate, we delay. You know that one? I'll do it later. I can't think about that right now. You know, first I want to do this and this and this, and then I'll do it. And I don't know about you, but if I look into my own day, there are things that I postpone, and then at the end of the day, I still haven't done it, and I think, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll try to do tomorrow morning, you know. And then in the morning, I do the same thing. Oh no, I won't do it. I'll do it after lunch, and then after lunch I'll do it before dinner, and and so this is procrastination. Or you think, well, when I'm going to do that now, it's going to take too much of my time. Or, you know, as soon as I have done that, then I will go there. You know these ones, right? Procrastination. Or you can denial that there is a problem at all. You know, you can think, well, there is nothing wrong with me. You know, or I cannot do anything about this problem. It has nothing to do with me, the problem. Or sometimes we believe if I just ignore the problem, it will go away by itself. Right? It's a little bit like little children. I'm not going to look, and then when I open my eyes, it's gone. Yeah. Resistance can also express itself as fear. So you might have fear for rejection, or you might be afraid of what other people will think about you, or you're afraid that you're going to be hurt, or you're afraid that your boyfriend or girlfriend doesn't like you anymore when you make that change. Or you are afraid that you do not have the money to pay for it, or you're afraid that you might lose your freedom, or you are afraid that it's going to hurt you. You know, all kinds of fear. And that gives us the reason not to engage in change, not to work with our resistance. So it can be worthwhile to write down your resistance, how it looks like. You know, maybe not now, but after the session or tomorrow. Postpone it till tomorrow. But it is good to write it down and to see it. And when you start working with it, you know, maybe at a certain point you can go back and see if the resistance has changed, that certain things you're not doing anymore. In Buddhism, when we talk about resistance, we talk about it is called laziness. I think the laziness in Buddhism has a little slightly different connotation than laziness in I say the West, but I know there are many Indians here too. You know, maybe I should say laziness, how we use it in daily life. Laziness means we don't want to do it. It is a kind of resistance. But in Buddhism, it refers specifically to not wanting to engage in virtue, in virtuous actions. And so there are three types of laziness. One is the resistance that is manifested as procrastination. You know, I postpone what I need to do. And I think when we procrastinate, then there is aversion in the mind to a certain activity. Oh no, I don't want to go there. I'll do it another time. Right? So I think aversion is quite obviously there. Then there is another way that we try to get away from unpleasant feelings, and that is that we distract ourselves. We can become extremely busy with other things, other people's problems, daily activity, engaging in anything that has nothing to do with what is actually going on inside. In Buddhism, we call that we are distracted with samsaric activity. And sometimes what we do is, you know, we have such resistance to experiencing what is inside us that we want to jump over what is actually going on. Some people have that when they go on the spiritual path, you know, I just want to feel good. That you feel something hurtful inside. You cannot deal with it. You don't want to deal with it. And so you want to be on the spiritual path because then you feel so relaxed and everything is so wonderful and you only do beautiful activities and you do not have to look at that. Then you step over whatever is sitting there. Then your spiritual engagement actually becomes another way of distracting yourself. And so the third type of laziness is that we say, I'm not good enough. This is too difficult for me. I'm going to give up. You know, and that is connected with low self-esteem. Not believing that we have the qualities inside us to overcome this. So in Buddhism, to counteract laziness, what we do is that we contemplate the good qualities of, you know, if we would overcome our resistance. You know, for instance, I'm lazy in cleaning up my house, right? And I postpone, and it becomes more and more messy and dirty. But if I contemplate that how I feel when I clean it up and how much benefit it's going to give me, you know, I can get an inspiration of actually feeling like, oh, I want to do that. And so the intention is the second. We have then the intention to actually engage in the activity. And then in dependence on that, we are willing to put in the effort. And then the more we are able to engage in that effort, the more pliant the mind becomes, the more flexible the mind becomes, the more the mind is willing to go there. And if I then start cleaning up my house and I start doing that every day and I feel the benefit that is coming from that every day, I might actually slowly create a habit and a liking for doing that. Right? Then when I like doing it, my resistance is gone. My laziness is gone. Okay, so that's Buddhist way of doing it. So when we have certain beliefs that are holding us back, we would have to say that somehow we experience that we receive benefit from that. Somehow we have a need to sustain that resistance. And I sometimes think, you know, and this is coming from having worked with psychology and psychotherapy, and that at a certain point in your life, your resistance might have been the thing that saved you, might have been the thing that protected you, might have been the thing that gave you the attention that you needed. It might have had benefit at a certain point in your life. But at this point in your life, it becomes an obstacle. So then in order to let go of the resistance, we have to be willing to let go of that need as well. You know? So if I resist because I feel that that is protecting me, I have to say I'm going to let go of my need for protection so that I can move on with my life. The protection that I needed was when I was very little, but now I do not need that anymore, so I can let it go. My need for protection, I let go. Or I'm willing to let that go. Or I give myself permission to not do that anymore. To stop doing that. So when we do that, when we work with our resistance and we are willing to let go whatever need was behind that resistance, then what we are doing is we are undoing the samsara with respect to aversion, with respect to unpleasant reactions. We start cleaning up. We start doing work that we have been postponing for a long time. Right? We have been trapped, going around and around and around, winding ourselves up more and more and more. When we unwind that, we need to clean all that up. So working with your resistance is one way. And then we also have a lot of behavior that is comes about due to following our attachment. And with attachment, we also wind up samsara. To unwind, what we can do is we can practice gratitude. And so today I won't have the time to really go into practicing gratitude, but what you know, if you Google how to practice gratitude, you get a lot of information about it. And it is basically thinking about every day, calling to mind, what am I grateful for? You know, and if you can write down every morning 5 things that you feel grateful for, you are happy with what you have. And that happiness with what you have already diminishes your attachment. Attachment always believes I need more. I need something different. I need to keep running. I need to keep doing. Gratitude is like, wow, look at what I have, you know. Whatever I have is all coming from merit, is all coming from having done positive activities. I'm so grateful for that. Okay, so we're working with aversion and with attachment. I'm just going to read the questions. Some people say there is comfort in suffering sometimes. You know, I think when you have to check what you mean with comfort. If you feel comfort, if comfort means that you are fully accepting the suffering and you have no resistance to the suffering, you can actually feel by experiencing the suffering that you are connected to your life. And resistance means that I do not want to feel it. Resistance means that I'm disconnecting. And I do not think that there is comfort in that unless, I don't know, you have to look into your own mind. While meditating, there is a lot of resistance for unpleasant sensations. As with the sense of groundlessness, equanimity does not happen with conflict. That is too difficult. You cannot ask it. I cannot look into such a difficult question. But for sure, when we meditate, we do not like unpleasant feelings, right? I think you asked this question before, didn't you? And I'm not going to talk about karma. You know, some questions you already have asked and I haven't answered them. That means that they're not in the context of this course, you know, so you don't have to repeat them. So when we meditate, I want to say something about resistance to unpleasant feelings, because unpleasant feelings means we don't like it. And when we don't like it, we automatically have aversion. To not have any aversion to unpleasant feelings, you need to be very, very, very far on the path, you know? So I don't think you can expect yourself to have that. But what you can do when unpleasant feelings arise during meditation, one way, and now at the end of the teaching, actually, we're going to do a meditation where we practice how to be with unpleasant feelings. But what you can do is you can think about the benefits that have come with your experience. You know, for instance, being able to bear unpleasant feelings makes the mind more patient. And you can bear more unpleasant feelings by reflecting on what you're experiencing is so little compared to what other people experience. It's nothing. Lama Zopa says, what we experience today is nothing compared to what is still going to come. I don't know if that's helpful. Right? We are only experiencing a tiny little bit. But what happens is when you experience suffering, you'd actually disconnect from the world around you. You think it's just me. Me, and the me is very little. And the present moment is extremely important. So if you open up your mind to the fact that what you experience compared to others is nothing, what you experience compared to what you're going to experience in the future is nothing. What you experience in this moment, if you look at yourself and you see in front of you your whole life, what is this? It's one moment. Why are you going to put so much effort into this moment of not liking that? It's nothing. So you need to apply a reasoning that is going to help that the feeling doesn't appear so strong. And when the feeling doesn't appear so strong, so negative, your aversion will become less. But not liking is a quality that belongs to unpleasant feelings, you know? It's not that we ever gonna, I mean, we practice that, liking unpleasant feelings, but I think the moment you start liking it, they're not unpleasant feelings anymore. And so maybe you push too hard, you know, when you have too strong reactions and the reactions become stronger, maybe you push too hard. And maybe practicing more kind self-talk, more loving kindness to yourself can also be helpful. All right. So I'm going to do a little recap. To give the main points, but also, you know, maybe give you some additional advice that you can practice in order to build a better relationship with yourself. So self-compassion is about how we reconnect with our own power, with our own potential for good qualities. So we carry the ingredients for all the good qualities within us. And what we need to discover is the secret of how to create, with all these qualities, a confident, wise, loving, flourishing person with that. And the secret is within us. It is very, very close by. And so close that many people overlook it. Most people, they overlook it. We look at the outside and we are looking outside ourselves to see what we need to do. We look outside to see what the outside world expects from us, wants us to become, what the outside world is telling us what to do. We are looking outside and compare ourselves with others. And instead of being guided by our inner values, often we are driven by gain. You know, I want more money, I want better reputation. I want more of something which is outside. And we say, how come I'm not going to be happy? You know, the way we find happiness is a way of disconnecting with ourselves. But in actuality, our body is Am I back? Yes, we are back. Very sorry. Good. So our body is the manufacturer of all happy feelings, right? It can produce the hormones that let us bliss out. And we keep looking outside for happiness. So if we can connect with all the aspects in ourselves and appreciate these aspects, see them for what they are, then these aspects will start working for us and give us what we want and what we need. And in order to connect with ourselves and with all the aspects in ourselves, we need to listen. You know, we need to listen with an attitude to our inner being. And then we can ask ourselves, what do you need? What's going on? Our listening attitude is an attitude that doesn't expects anything. You know, you just listen with an open mind. But you accept whatever arises in the mind. Right? It's not that when things arise from our inner voice that we say, oh no, I don't like that. I only want to have what I like. Sometimes we get unpleasant or inconvenient messages from inside. We need to be willing to hear that. And so we need to be non-judgmental when we listen to our inner voice. Each and every aspect of us, of our energy, has the potential to grow in the most beautiful qualities. All the parts of you that you like, but also all the parts of you that you do, they all have exactly the same potential for transforming into beautiful qualities. So I would like to encourage you to lift up that judgment that you're not good enough. And look with honesty what is underneath that judgment. What we cover up with harsh judgments are needs that were not met. The need to be loved, the need to belong, the need to feel appreciated, the need to feel included, the need to connect. And we might have learned that these needs are wrong or dirty or selfish. But can you allow yourself to see these needs as just needs? As long as we are in samsara, we have needs. And there is nothing wrong with that. And it is important that you acknowledge that and accept these needs. And it is also important to fulfill these needs, especially your need for belonging, your need for connection. Because as human beings, we are social animals. You know, we do not want to disconnect from our humanness and say, oh, I don't have any need for connection. We do have need for connection. We do have need for belonging. But it is also good if we can develop a strong mind that is okay when needs are not always met. That we can take care of ourselves emotionally when our emotional needs are not met. Having likings and not likings is not a problem. Having preferences is not a problem. But important is how we relate to meeting or not meeting these preferences. If we have an attitude that it is okay when we do not meet what we like, or that it is okay when we meet with something that we don't like, you know, we have quite a balanced mind. What we do not want to do is when our needs are not met, when we meet with something that we don't like, or when we do not get what we want, you know, that we start demanding and screaming. That is what makes the problem. So the better we can take care of our own needs, the less we will start screaming and demanding. And when we do not get when we get something that we don't want, we can still be okay with that. So in order to find true happiness and in order to find meaning in our life, it is important that we have a long-term view. And if things do not work out in the present moment, little things, disappointments, failures, unpleasantness that happens on a daily basis, don't let that determine your life. You know, because in the big scheme of things, they're not important at all. They're just tiny little bit. So don't waste your energy on that. Just let it pass. And so one important thing I hope that you got from these teachings is that instead of giving attention to following your feelings, what you are very used to, that you start observing and adjusting your actions. It is more important to create positive actions than it is to follow your feelings and feel good. Best if we can do it together. If you can create positive actions and feel good, but the lead is coming from the actions that you're doing. And that is very strong connected to the values that you have in life. You know, that you are aware what you're doing, that you are aware what you create in other sentient beings. If we live on following the feelings, then it is very easy to pass on suffering that we haven't dealt with. When we have suffering that we haven't dealt with, you know, then we can, and we react from that. It is so easy to harm others. It is so easy to engage in actions that are harmful, that are not caring. So when we are very aware of our actions, when we take responsibility for our own suffering, when we have the courage to work through our own suffering, then we get slowly, slowly more control over our life. And I think that also makes that you start appreciating yourself more and more. And so when we go through this process, it is very important that we are kind to ourselves and gentle with ourselves. And that we recognize the moments that you start beating yourself up and that you think you're not good enough. Because these moments where you normally give these comments to yourself, they are actually already moments where you suffer. And so instead of beating yourself up and trying to disconnect from that suffering, try to look at the suffering that was already there and let go of your own judgment. Give yourself understanding, give yourself the love, be kind to yourself. You are suffering. So my experience, so part of what I'm saying is not Buddhism, it's my experience in relation to Buddhism. So I have experienced that in order to practice Buddhism with a healthy mind, it is important to feel love and compassion for yourself. If you have self-hatred or low self-esteem, it is wise, I think, to work with that first. You know? And although self-hatred and low self-esteem is a result of negative karma that you have created in the past, it also has come about due to the relationship that you had with, I don't know, your parents, an authority, a teacher, you know, something that somebody projected onto you and you adopted that as your own. And so within modern psychology, there is a lot of, there are many options that you can explore that might be helpful to free yourself from that. And then when you have a good relationship with yourself first, you can hear Buddhism in a different way. It is not about good and bad and just wanting to do the good and wanting to get away from the bad. But you can see that good and bad is not about judgment. But good and bad in Buddhism is about creating favorable conditions that are going to help you to develop your full potential. And how you create obstacles to developing your full potential. It is about creating conditions. So good means that you create conditions that are going to be helpful for you, and bad means you're creating conditions that are bad for you. There is no judgment of you're a bad person or this is really a bad action. Right? It's very important that we get that we take that away in order to hear the real meaning of Buddhism. So in our modern world, you know, the individual autonomy is very much promoted. And also we all have our rights, you know, our basic human rights. And so there are good reasons for doing this, or that this happens, but it also comes at a cost. Because what we do is we cut the ties of interdependency and we move further and further away from communal experience of life. And so when you do that, then each one of us has to create his or her own meaning of life. And we also become obsessed with what we accomplish. And then we define our personal identity and evaluate our self-worth in terms of what we have accomplished. So then our work, our career becomes very important to show who we are. And so in that environment, we are very competitive. We want to be better than somebody else. And so then within that environment, we become very critical and demanding of ourselves. And if we do not perform well enough, then we will be a failure, we are unworthy, and we do not deserve love. You know, we make these conclusions. But when we're very obsessed with our performance, we can actually become very insensitive, impatient, and even arrogant towards other people. Especially when we perceive that they do not live up to our standard. Right? When we do that, we actually show also that we lack self-compassion. We become harsh and judgmental in relationship to ourselves and also in relationship to others. And so although we cannot change our modern society, we can change the relationship that we have with ourselves and how we relate to the world. We can start appreciating connection with ourselves and with others. And the more we understand the meaning of connection and the depth of connection, the more satisfaction and fulfillment we will experience in life. When you start doing that, when you start, instead of investing in your career and who you are and, you know, getting your self-esteem from outer conditions, instead you start connecting with what you really feel and what is important for you in life. It might appear as if you're going against the stream of society, and you are. And that can feel very uncomfortable, because you think everyone is running that way and I'm going that way, you know? How do I know that's the right way? It looks so not natural, but it feels that you are more connected with yourself. So the better you understand that going against the stream is actually helping you to create the causes for real happiness, the better you can see that, the less it will bother you. Thinking that you can connect with others without being connected to yourself, I think, is a myth. I think in order to, once you start connecting with who you feel you are, with all these aspects of you that you have been ignoring and neglecting and not paid any attention to, or you have been judging them as something negative, as soon as you start connecting with that, you will see that a relationship with yourself will change, the relationship with others will change. You might meet other people. Maybe you start, whatever you're doing, you will start doing things in a different way because you're connecting more with your authenticity. And so then whatever you do is more in accordance with that. And you may also start to relate different to your environment, whether that is the plants, the animals. You maybe become aware that we need to take care of that as well. The more we connect, the more we heal. The more we connect, the more we can experience wholeness. The more we are disconnected, the more we are engaging in actions that take us away from who we really are. Disconnection means pain. Disconnection means suffering. But we can turn that around. You know, whatever we have been disconnecting from, we can reconnect with that. It is not that things have gone. It is not that things are not reachable anymore, right? Your potential is still fully there. We just have forgotten how to connect with that, and we can reconnect with that. So we can connect with ourselves by meditating, by listening to our inner voice, by engaging in positive actions, by developing moral values and dependence on that, by developing good qualities. And every time that we connect with ourselves, we will have a new learning experience. Every time you connect with yourself, you can say, how am I doing today? What is working today for me? How do I feel? You know, and we keep adjusting. We keep tuning in. What do I need today? We don't think, I needed that yesterday, I need the same thing today. You have to connect every day newly. You are never the same. So when we do that, when we put energy in that, then slowly, slowly we can discover how our mind works and how our body works. And no one can do that for you except yourself. No one knows yourself better than you do. And of course, in the whole process, we're going to make mistakes. You know, you might make misjudgments. Sometimes you push too hard. Sometimes you don't push hard enough. But that's normal. This is how we learn. You know, find the middle. Every day, newly finding the middle. And with that, being gentle with yourself. And so when we engage in these activities, that is how we relate to ourselves. But we also have to take good care of the body, right? Because the body and the mind, they work together. They influence each other. So you have to take care of your food. Make sure that whatever you put in your body is as close to nature as possible. Your body is like nature, right? Like the plants, like the energy of the body is the energy of nature. So what we are doing with our food in terms of using pesticides is actually disconnecting us from our physical nature. And also, I think, you know, we do not get all the vitamins and minerals anymore due to that. And if we do not have, if we are deprived of minerals and vitamins, it can cause problems in both our body and in our mind. So pay attention to that, so that you have everything that you need for your body to function properly and for your body to be a healthy basis for a healthy mind. And then it's good to engage in physical activities that involve the mind, such as yoga, tai chi, qigong, or there are many kinds of activities where you're mindful of your movements, where you use your breathing. Breathing is a wonderful method to connect body and mind together. Pranayama, right? You can see what is available to you, and with the internet, there is so much available. So the main, I don't know, I feel that we need to know that deep inside, we all have the potential for wholeness. It is there, waiting for us to connect with that. There is nothing inherently flawed. Inherently, we are whole. Everything is present. We just need to find a way to connect with that. And so walking that path is not always easy, and there might be some hurdles on the path, but that's okay. You know, that's just how it goes. If it was easy, we would not have lost ourselves. If it was easy, we would already have done it. But I think it is important that we know that it can be done. That everything, if we make the effort, if we have the intention to reconnect with ourselves, to be kind to ourselves, to be gentle with ourselves, you know, then the method will come. Everything that you need will present itself when the time is ready. The only thing that you need to do is never give up wanting to become the best version of yourself. You know, sometimes we need a break, but never give it up, because you're worth it. And you have all the qualities to do it. All right. So I want to finish this session with a meditation on tong liang. Tong liang is a Buddhist practice which is seen as it is almost the essence of Buddhism that we practice. So during the course, we have seen that our habit is to follow pleasant feelings with attachment, wanting more, and unpleasant feelings with aversion, wanting to be separated from that. And that habit is what is causing all our problems. So in the practice of tong liang, which has been kept secret in Tibet for a long time, because when you hear what you're doing, it sounds totally insane, right? But what we are doing with tong liang is we turn that habit around. Instead of wanting to be separated from the unpleasant feelings, we are going to take them on, and we say, bring it on. Not only my feelings, but you can give me more, you know, because I know I'm not the only one who is suffering from this. And the pleasant feelings that we experience, instead of saying, I want more, they are mine, I want to hold on to them, we say, I give them away freely to everyone who is in need of that. And so we will practice that today in relationship to ourselves. But then in Buddhism, after having done that in relationship with ourselves, we practice that in relationship to those that we like. And when we feel comfortable with that, with those that we do not know so well. And once we feel comfortable with that, we're even going to do that with the people that we do not like, those who have harmed us or hurt us, or, you know, the people that we experience as our enemies. But for today, we start just with ourselves so that you can feel the technique and feel the benefits of that technique. And so when you like it, you practice that for a while just on yourself. And then when you feel comfortable, you can start applying that to the suffering of others as well. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? So that we're going to change our habit of following pleasant feelings and moving away from unpleasant feelings. So to do the meditation, make yourself comfortable. Allow your mind to settle down. Feel connected with your body. And then bring to mind a problem that is currently troubling you. Start with a small or medium-sized problem, not with your biggest one. So the problem can be a physical problem, a painful or uncomfortable feeling or an illness. Or it can be something emotional, such as sadness or hurt or loneliness. Allow the problem to arise in your mind and feel how painful it is and how your mind wants to push it away. Talk kindly to yourself and let go of your resistance to having this problem. And when you breathe in, you visualize that you accept the problem. You allow it to come close. You can visualize that you allow it to come into your heart. And you feel that it is your responsibility to take that problem. It's yours. It's on your plate. So you breathe it in, into your heart. And then think, I'm not the only person in the world experiencing a problem like this. There are many others. And then think of other people who may be experiencing the same or similar problem. Some to an even greater degree than yourself. Generate compassion for them, thinking and really feeling how wonderful it would be if all these problems could be free from their suffering. And so you decide that by you taking on your own experience of this problem, may that become the cause for other people to be free from their suffering. And so your heart is very brave. And you keep breathing in the problem. And you keep thinking that by doing this, all other sentient beings who have a similar problem become completely free of their problem. Let go of your resistance, your fear, and your aversion towards your problem. And allow your mind to rest in a gentle, peaceful acceptance of it. And maybe you can feel that your resistance is letting go slowly, slowly. Your heart is softening more and more. And with every breath you take in, your mind becomes more comfortable, accepting the suffering experience, accepting the problem. And so if you want to come back to this practice in the future, you can apply this practice also to future suffering that you're going to experience. For instance, separation, sickness, death. You can already think about these events that most likely are going to happen in your life. And you already take on the suffering that you're going to experience in the future. And then whatever fear you have, whether you're aware of that or not, that already dissolves once you start practicing that. And so then your mind becomes at ease with future suffering. And so if there are things from the past that you haven't digested yet, you can apply the same technique to that as well. And then before we dedicate all the merit, I want to thank you for having been here, for listening and reflecting and meditating. I've tried to share my knowledge to the best of my ability. And I have given you all I have, so I hope it's going to benefit you somehow. If I have made mistakes, they are all mine. They are not in the Buddha Dharma, but my understanding might not be perfect. Probably not. But I hope it gives you a little bit of tools that you can work with and improve. And then maybe you find a teacher who speaks the Buddha Dharma more perfect. So then we can think that we dedicate all the positive energy that we have gathered by listening, reflecting, and meditating today, but also in previous days. And you can visualize all that merit that you have created in the form of white light. And maybe it's sitting in your heart. And then you visualize that that is going to shine from your heart in all the 10 directions, touching each and every sentient being, freeing them from all their suffering and giving them all the happiness they need. And we can dedicate that you might have all the conditions that are going to help you to practice more self-compassion, that are going to help you to sustain this practice, and that are going to help you to improve more and more so that you can really fully develop your potential for love and compassion. And with that can be of greatest benefit to all sentient beings. Thank you very much. Hope to see you again one day.